Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And a lot of weird shit. Roll to seize!
Welcome to Roll to Seize. This is episode 7. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host and Warhammer enthusiast, Andrew Dickinger.
How's it going, everyone?
Everyone, there is news afoot. Devilry and evil robots have seethed back into the grimdark to appear again in the new codex for Necrons.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, they haven't received one since 5th edition,
Yeah.
so... Though, granted, probably because they were one of the strongest and most balanced codexes.
Oh yeah, I mean, I play with Necrons, and they have an awesome codex.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much have been competitive since 5th edition. Now, you know, there's also questionable feelings about their background being changed from what they originally were.
I really hope it's not going to change too much, because I do like some of the Dynasty stuff, although I do miss the Catan stuff.
The switch from the Catan being their slavers, essentially, to them actually having enslaved the Catan... That, I mean, it does actually make sense. And I do like the Dynasties thing. And I understand they're trying to synergize, 40K and fantasy, and they're basically space Tomb Kings.
And Imhotep, he uses lightning and storms to scare people.
His name is Imhotep.
Imhotep.
Instead of Imhotep.
Yeah.
The most famous priest in, all of Egyptian
Somebody
lore.
just watched the Mummy movie and was like, we gotta make him a playable character.
And they did make him bring the storm. He is the Storm Lord.
That's true. Rumor mill going around, Brendan Fraser is going to be a new character in the new codex for Necrons. Find out, everybody, on Saturday. I really hope that's not a thing.
I mean, how's that going to work, though? Is he going to be, antagonistic to your own army? So you just have to, damn the enemy army, you have to kill him.
He's what are those allies rules where it's like come the apocalypse, basically? So you play him as your own warlord, right? But he just starts shooting your own men, essentially.
Oh, man, that sounds terrible.
It sounds like probably the worst, the point sync for your army. Best thing is he's only 1 point, so not so bad.
A 1 point?
1 point character, only because he tries to kill the rest of your army.
I guess that's acceptable.
Right. So, guys, one of the other big news we heard was Harlequins.
Oh, yeah, Harlequins are getting a new plastic kit. And even better than that, well, not only is it a really cool plastic kit, if you've seen the rumor mills, it's not like normal, whispers here and there. They have pictures.
There's pictures up.
So the kit itself is pretty awesome. It has 6 more interchangeable masks than they actually need, so you can give them whatever masks you want, which is pretty cool. Plus lots of different...
2 masks, 6 masks. Go mask nuts, guys.
Yeah, I mean, just masks everywhere, especially over the codpiece. Gotta have a mask.
Absolutely. That's what they're there for. Yeah. I mean, if you put them on the face, you're not doing it correctly.
No, it's mask codpiece.
It's clearly how the Harlequins roll. You're too busy. Is that a mask on that? Oh God!
But the solitaire.
That's what the Harlequin kiss is.
Oh God!
You're getting kissed with the codpiece.
Okay then.
This show went off the rails immediately.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about Necrons, Harlequins. These are some new releases that are coming out. But guys, let's get to some of the fun stuff in the show. Let's dive in to our Seizes of the month. So Andrew, kick things off. What is your Seize for this month?
All right, so now, you probably already know by now, but one of my favorite armies is Tyranids, or Tyranids, however you
want to
pronounce it.
Every way is correct, guys.
Turbolids, whatever.
Turbolids is my favorite. Now, people slap me when I say that, but, Turbolids just sounds so great.
I mean, if they're not saying Turbolids, it's their loss.
Exactly, right? You're not living your life. Live your life, guys, with Turbolids.
I feel like that's an
infomercial. I live my life even though I'm stricken with Turbolids day in and day out. Tyrannids as an affliction would be the worst affliction.
I'm pretty sure there wouldn't be anything you could do about it.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty gross. It's probably something that happens in the Grimdark quite a bit.
It's like an infomercial of them doing the infomercial like right as they're being devoured.
Oh, God.
So it's just like a one-time thing.
It's canon now. Turbolids is something that Space Marines have to deal with day in and day out. There's a cream for it. We're not quite sure how it works. Anyways, Andrew.
So I love my Tyrannids, and I love specifically a character even though he's not very good, or not considered to be very good.
Sad face.
I'm sure many of you listening to this would agree with me. That's Old One Eye.
Poor Old One Eye.
He's a bit expensive, and he's slow, but boy, oh boy, if he makes it into combat, does he just destroy everything he touches.
Murder everything.
I mean, he's the only thing that I know of in the game that can go in excess of 12 attacks.
That's a pretty high amount of attacks.
That are strength 10 AP 2?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think... Nope, yeah, no, that's very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like Destructosaurus, so I'm always like eager to get him there, but that's his problem, is getting him there. Well, as you probably know, Tyranids fairly recently got drop pods. So they have the ability, once again, like they had in their previous codex, the ability to deep strike monstrous creatures in.
Which is fantastic.
So I was playing a game against Necrons, and I was getting my butt kicked pretty good, and I was waiting for a lot of my reserves. I was getting really bad reserve rolls, but then finally my Old One Eye came in, and I had my drop pod, and I got to drop him in, and he was behind enemy lines, and I was like, all right, yeah, let's ready to go. But I had kind of underestimated the capability of Entropic Strike. Now, Old One Eye only has a 3+ save, which means that if he fails one of the 3+ saves against a bunch of Entropic Strike hits, he essentially just gets gibbed. Yeah. And I totally forgot about this. So then what my opponent did is he ended up just throwing a squad of Scarabs against him. And I was like, what the hell? They're wounding on 6s anyway. Well, he got good rolls and just happened to roll like I don't know, probably 5 or 6 wounds on him. And I failed my armor save on like the second saving throw.
And he just lost the rest of them.
Which just kills him instantly. Like, I was just like, oh, right, because he loses his armor save, which means he doesn't save anymore, which just means he eats the rest of the wounds.
No.
So he just got crunched. Like, I was just like, I couldn't believe that I had completely lost, that was an oversight in my brain. I was just like, oh, right, it does that. Because I'm so used to Entropic Strike just being like death to vehicles. Mm-hmm. It was just a really bad move on my part. And once again, a guy that I'm eager to use ended up getting crunched because even though I had the delivery system at this point, I just put him in the wrong place and put him in a scenario he shouldn't have been in the first place.
Do you think it was the lack of peripheral vision that kept Old One Eye from being more effective in that fight?
I think it's more his lack of depth perception, that it's these little itty-bitty things fighting him, and he just gets angry and just starts wailing everywhere.
He's just sitting there, he's like, those are definitely at least 200 feet. Oh my god, they're on my face. Just
yes.
like... Argh!
He's like, yeah, I would imagine he's...
Which, by the way, was a perfect Old One Eye impression I just did there. Just exactly, that was it as well.
That wasn't actually me. That was Old One Eye.
Oh my god. We should get the hell out of here. Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh, he's harmless.
Yeah,
he can't see.
He can't see us. His one eye's on the other side. So right now, and his hearing's bad. He's old. And
I'm sure if he turned... he's Old One Eye. He must be senile. I'm sure if he turned and saw us, he'd like start swinging and not realize we're like 150 feet away. So that's it. That's my season of the month.
All right. Well, my season of the month actually taps in a little bit to my love of Harlequins, but not enough love.
I mean, you're saying that you have a feeling for Eldar.
I do have a feeling for Eldar. It's somewhere near my Harlequin codpiece, but it's... My feelings for Eldar are strong.
He's wearing a Harlequin codpiece.
I'm wearing a
right
Harlequin codpiece. It's custom made by a special company. We're going to give a shout out to harlequincodpiece.com.
It's making me very uncomfortable.
It's what it's supposed to do. It's where the Holofield comes from.
Don't Harlequins kiss me, Jay.
That's going to have such a terrible connotation now. It's just got a whole new meaning. What happened? I got Harlequin kissed. I don't want to talk about it.
You're just going to have a battle where you do it to some character and you're just going to look at me at another table. You're just going to look at me at another table and wink.
See you across the way just winking. It's like, God damn it, Jay. You're a monster. Anyways, so I love Harlequins. I love the whole idea. Death clowns that dance around in like crazy colorful light. Now, Harlequins are interesting. We don't really know how they're going to end up with this new data slate coming out, but how they stand now is they do a lot of really cool stuff in close range. With Shadow Seer, it makes it really difficult for people to hit them till they're right on top of them. And there's some cool stuff with you can do with these units. And the problem is, I like them, but I didn't think about working them into my army. I just kind of was like, I've got some points left, which, by the way, a decent Harlequin squad is not a small amount of points.
No, they're a little expensive.
Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, let's use Harlequins. So I threw them in there, but I didn't come around to strategy with having them as part of my army. They weren't a tool in my tool belt to utilize in that game. I just wanted to be like, Harlequins. This will be fun, right? Problem with the concept of being like, this will be fun when you're playing a bunch of games of Warhammer is the nostalgia and the fun, if you're not building like an interesting story or a theme around it, can kind of go away pretty immediately when you're just getting them blown off the table or you're getting the rest of your army blown off the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you go in half-cocked with a unit and you're like, I just want to try it out. Then you end up, you'll occasionally like forget things about them and then you're reminded later and then you think they suck and then you realize, the worst part is when you think they're terrible and then you realize it's your fault.
Exactly.
That they went wrong.
So basically I took these Harlequins and I injected them into an already kind of well-developed Eldar army, and they just didn't work. And it was also mostly my fault because I didn't think of how to best utilize them. I held them back. I kind of kept them a little bit too safe because I was like, I don't want the Harlequins that I like to get killed, essentially.
Oh, so you treated them more in you did the precious
Yes,
ruling.
My precious pretty murder clowns don't die. I forgot about Shadow Seer and how, like, that's going to protect them.
I think its power is called Veil of Tears.
Veil of Tears, yes. And I didn't take advantage of what they had to offer. I kept them kind of too close to the back and protecting them instead of utilizing them as a tool in my army, and I just didn't make it all cohesive and work together. And because of it, my army got pretty quickly annihilated by actually another Eldar player. It was the first game I tried it out with. And, that army, even though might have utilized some units not often seen like Harlequins, he fully embraced those ideas of those different units and how they can work together in an Eldar army, and surprisingly kicked the shit out of my guys.
And I mean, as we've mentioned in a previous episode, one of the most important things when building a list, of course it's okay to have attachment to your army. I mean, that's part of the game, is the joy of using.
Yeah.
You want to use what you want to use.
Especially if you're building, like, you're adding little custom pieces here and there, you've got your own stuff. I mean, that's hugely important, and that's definitely still part of it.
And people, I mean, I understand. I have attachment, like, especially for the custom stuff that I make, and I'm like, it makes me definitely sad when it goes, but definitely one of the most important lessons you can learn if you want to remain competitive, but also have those fluff elements in your army, is to just be prepared to kill your darlings, to just let them go.
Exactly.
Because it's gonna happen.
And guys, the Harlequins, they're okay with it. They've accepted life.
I guess that's true. They laugh at the brighter side of life.
Yeah, you know what? Harlequins are all about glass half full. So if you gotta throw some dudes into death, why not pick some Harlequins? That's your PSA for today. The Harlequins, I'm sure, are happy about it. So that was our Seasons of the Month. So that's going to take us into the mysterious Brown Library.
So it looks like Greg's finally got those Christmas decorations out of here.
Yeah, he finally got those out. It looks nice. It feels back to normal, except for the goo. There's a lot of goo everywhere, and I'm a bit concerned.
I mean, isn't there always goo everywhere?
If you're gonna go for a theme, just go all out, right?
Exactly.
Goo here, goo on the floor, goo all over my pants.
Not like
now.
a little goo there and a little goo there. I mean, these books are like basically oozing with evil. They should just be just pea soup, just like in The Exorcist. Just
Why is this room covered in pea soup? Oh no! That's how you're supposed to read the books.
Guy closes the book. I have no idea what I thought was gonna happen.
I don't know what I just read. I don't know where I am. All I know is I hate this place. I hate it a lot. So, Andrew, what are we diving in this pea soup goo environment of the Brown Library today?
So yeah, I run a forum on DakkaDakka.com. All you have to do is go to the forum tools section and search underused units, and you will see our forum, essentially, where every month I'll throw up a poll, and you'll get to decide how we have to suffer
what we
up
have
with a
to
list.
do to figure out a list to make work from these units.
So this month, we got chosen with Chaos Space Marines.
Ooh.
And specifically, Noise Marines.
Noise Marines! I'm
Yes.
so excited!
The rockers from outer space.
Yes!
So essentially the theme of this list, I mean, had to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll, because
Absolutely.
that is what Slaanesh is all about.
I love rock and roll. Wow.
I mean, the history of the Noise Marines is actually kind of interesting. So obviously you had,
They needed to rock too hard. Is that what the background is?
That's it, in a nutshell.
Thank you for listening to Roll to Seeds, episode 7.
So, there was that little thing called the Horus Heresy, and if you couldn't see that,
That
because
little thing.
this
Andrew
is
was doing quote marks in the air.
it's a radio show, so I'm sure you can't, see, maybe you're I don't know, but...
all of our listeners have telepathic powers. We know this.
Okay, so there's this Horus Heresy, and there's this Primarch named Fulgrim, who is essentially the Primarch of the Emperor's Children chapter of Space Marines, and they were just kind of all about battle, like crazy battleness, like everything about battle. I mean, pain and suffering and killing. And
Fulcrum, what are your 3 favorite loves? I love battle, and I love eating battle.
Battle is an edible substance?
It is when you battle like I do.
So when they were tempted and eventually swayed to Horus's side, the side of the Chaos Gods and everything.
Not too difficult for a guy who is super bloodlusty.
I mean, they're all kind of bloodlusty.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's not exactly
a little bit more bloodlusty. Look,
job requirements.
Here's the thing, though. If this guy stood out so much for his bloodlusty out of a bunch of dudes who are pretty bloodlusty, that's a lot of bloodlust.
Yeah, but I mean, you could say that pretty much about any of them.
I guess
mean,
that's
we won't get into that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But so they fell to chaos, and they specifically fell to Slaanesh and essentially pleasure. He's the god, the twisted god of perverse pleasure, and essentially, and kind of just distorted them to the point where their senses were just sensory overload all the time. The way it was described to me is just imagine guys that have a wicked hard-on all the time and are coked out of their minds 24/7.
You know what they need? They need those Harlequin cod pieces.
That's exactly what they need.
It all comes back around to Harlequin
Full
cod
circle.
Jeez.
But their rebreathers, I imagine, are just filled with cocaine all the time.
It's just the weirdest Darth Vader. Now we know what Darth Vader was rocking inside that mask all the time.
Oh, cocaine.
Yeah,
it makes so much sense.
The Force is just cocaine.
Oh.
If you sniff enough cocaine, you can move objects.
This
with
is
your mind.
the worst disclaimer ever.
This is the worst. Mr. Dickinger and Mr. Jones, if you could repeat this statement you said on air, was it that sniffing enough cocaine will give you magical powers?
We are not endorsing cocaine.
We are not endorsing cocaine, but it will give you magical powers.
So anyways, the history of these guys, eventually, they try to inflict sensory... The way they battle is in trying to inflict sensory overload on their enemies. So the original group, which I favor over the new models, fought quite literally with projectile electric guitars.
Which is just the best thing ever.
I mean, what more could you ask for?
They rocked so hard, they destroyed their enemies with their rocking.
I mean...
That's straight up Scott Pilgrim shit right there, guys.
That is a death metal dream in the making.
A death metal dream. That's what those old 80 music videos were when they used to fight each other or blow up cars or explode windows with hard rocking, guys.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Exactly. So I looked deep into these guys. Obviously their background is kind of interesting, and
yeah.
They're a little more in depth than, say, no offense, but Korn guys are kind of just kill, maim, burn, and
right.
They're just kind of a one note show. But what's interesting about these guys is that because they got lured to chaos, they are constantly searching for higher and higher excess and sensory overload, to the point because they're addicts. They're 40K versions of heroin addicts, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Like I said, a little more in depth. But then I was like, all right, let's go down into the rules and actually figure out why these are so non-liked units. I mean, just their background's awesome. I think people would just be playing them simply because their background. And I know some people who do play them. Just throwing that out there. They're not totally
There's someone in the back. Hey, hello, hold on. I do use those guys.
Yes, but any standard Chaos Space Marine force or anything close to a min-max Chaos Space Marine force, you will never see these guys. And I saw some reasons why. The main reason that jumps out immediately is they're expensive. To give them what you're going to give them, which is, first, you have to upgrade them to Sonic Blasters, aka projectile electric guitars.
That's sad.
They start out with just bolt guns, which is just like, why don't they just have the Sonic Blasters at default?
That's why you're getting them in the first place.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, they're already 17 points default, so they're 3 points more than a Space Marine, and then to give them Sonic Blasters, what you gonna do is another 3 points.
So they're 20 points.
20 points apiece.
Well, I can see why people wouldn't immediately jump on that.
Now, I was like, okay, I get it. They're very expensive, but let's see what they're actually capable of. Well, one thing that's pretty cool is that they can be given something called an Icon of Excess. It's the icon for Slaanesh, which you're like, oh, it's 30 points. That's expensive. What does that do? Well, it gives them all Feel No Pain.
Whoa.
So that's a big deal. Just 30 points flat. Now, if you're carrying smaller units, that's an expensive tax.
Oh,
you
yeah,
consider,
absolutely.
Point per model
That's a couple
count.
models, yeah.
Yeah. Versus when you can carry the max amount in a unit, which, believe it or not, is 20.
What?
You can put 20 guys in a unit.
20 hardcore rockers.
Yeah, 30 points, that's a little less than 2 points a model for Feel No Pain outright. Now, they're already expensive, but Feel No Pain is amazingly good, especially for bulk infantry units.
Oh, yeah.
Even better when you consider attaching a character to it, and suddenly, whoop-diddy-doo-dah, it says the entire unit, so he joins them, and then suddenly a character has Feel No Pain. But then I looked at their Sonic Blasters, and their Sonic Blasters are actually kind of interesting. They're a salvo weapon.
Really?
A 24-inch salvo weapon. It's either two. Do you know how salvo weapons work?
I do, but in case anyone doesn't, let's catch them up.
So salvo is a thing that they've been implementing in recently for weapons that have different firing characteristics.
Right.
So salvo for them specifically is salvo 2-3, which means it's 2 shots as an assault weapon, 3 shots as a heavy weapon. So, 2 shots, 3-shot weapon, it's 24-inch range, so it's essentially like Stormbolter normally, but if they're stationary, an extra shot at Stormbolter range, you have 20 of those guys firing at 24 inches, that's 60 shots.
If you're stationary, you can hit those high notes way better on that
man, the
electric guitar.
riffing that you're doing, just like blow their eardrums out, literally. So that was pretty great. But then, so I was looking at the weapon stats, and it's strength 4 AP5, so it's a normal bolt gun stat. But here's where the benefit comes into play. It ignores cover.
What?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So anything that relies on cover for good saves basically gets obliterated. Like, you think about it in the terms of, like, I don't know, orcs or nids or like guardians for Eldar or anything like that normally has like a 5+ or worse save. So that was interesting. I was like, oh, so against infantry units, especially bulk infantry units, that's kind of devastating. Like, anything that relies on cover saves basically just gets blown away. And at 24-inch range, you can just, and Feel No Pain, you just deploy them at the front line.
You're just walking them up the field.
Boom, 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 boom. You just march them up.
Basically the marching band of your rock army.
Of Doom. Marching band. I didn't even think of that. Yes.
Discoveries.
But then they can also, for every 10 guys in the unit, you can give them what's called a blastmaster.
A blastmaster.
Yes.
That is a great name.
It is as good as it sounds. Ba-bum-tsh.
Andrew.
So the Blastmaster is another dual profile weapon.
Okay.
Its normal firing mode is a 36-inch range 2-shot heavy bolter. So it's strength 5 AP4. But like the Sonic Blasters ignores cover. So it's 2-shot strength 5 AP4 ignores cover at 36 inches. Also has pinning.
Oh, that's nice.
Built in. But then its second stat is 48-inch range, strength 8, AP3, ignores cover.
Whoa.
Pinning.
Well, that's nice.
Crazy.
Welcome to the jungle.
An AP3 blast weapon that ignores cover. I mean, like, just against other Space Marines alone, that's terrifying.
Well, we didn't say, those are taking down bikes, which is a big thing that you're seeing a lot right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, bikes are definitely... Space Marine bikes, Army, definitely super popular, and with 4 to 8 inch range and deploying at the front line, you're basically not hiding from that, and even if you are, no jank.
I mean, not even just bikes, we're also talking about vehicles at that point. I mean, strength 8 with no cover, you're hitting, basically skimmers, you're taking them out.
Oh, no janking saves? I mean, at the very least, you'll I can say, like, a Wave Serpent or something, or, like, a Dark Eldar Raider or something like that, you're avoiding jink altogether and possibly getting decent penetration rolls. Like, I mean, just even shaking a vehicle like that reduces its offensive capabilities significantly.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, look, you can be shooting any type of payload you want. I mean, whether you prefer Come Sail Away, whether you prefer Welcome to the Jungle, whether you're going to be rocking You've Got the Touch from Van Halen in that Transformers movie. I mean, you can be throwing anything at your enemies, guys. It's up to you. But really, you're going to be blowing some shit up with some awesome rock music.
Exactly. I mean, you're just going to be rocking them so hard, they're not going to know what hit them.
It's so great. I love it so much.
So the list I came up with, it had to be everything rock band based.
Oh, yes,
of
course.
How could it be anything else? So you're led by 2 Chaos Lords that are just there for one purpose. Just quick throw in, everything has Mark of Slaanesh in this army.
Perfect, of course.
Even if it's not used, it must have Mark of Slaanesh.
Perfect.
So even the Chaos Lords have Mark of Slaanesh. They don't really have anything else because they don't really need it. They're there to just stand in front of the Noise Marines and be Eddie Van Halen and Alex Van Halen.
Yes. Yes.
Leading the band behind them up the field.
I love it.
And then, so that it's actually a very small army. It's literally, because they're so expensive, it's 2 units of maxed out Noise Marines.
Excellent.
2 Chaos Lords, and then just 2 units of Obliterators, which are your anti-vehicle, because you need some of that, so give you some competitive edge, and Obliterators are amazing at anti-vehicle. But here's where the Obliterators fit into the army fluff. The Obliterators are your controlled pyrotechnics.
Oh my god, yes.
Because they have all the guns they need.
Of course,
so they're
your
throwing
heavy metal
fireworks.
shows, you gotta have like...
You gotta have fireworks and flames and shit, and they got everything, but they double as their roadies.
Perfect.
So they're these they got like the Power Fist, there's these super strong guys, they're also carrying all of their shit.
I mean, that's a perfect rock group right there.
Right there. So then it gets even better. So then they also have some allied demons, because if you're gonna have anything, you need their agent/manager, who is a herald of Slaanesh.
Of course, the agent or manager is literally a demon.
And he's a herald of all things to the band that is incoming.
That's amazing.
And then, of course, you also got to have some groupies. So what do they have? 2 units of Daemonettes to be their...
You get a round of applause, sir. That's fantastic.
So I just have 2 standard units of Daemonettes for their groupies, and then the Herald also has the Portaglyph, which makes a portal to bring out more groupies.
Of course.
As they rock harder, as turns go by, the groupies just multiply.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, the levels of how much this works just dramatically expands.
Oh, it just gets better and better. So, I mean, honestly, I can't say this. I don't have the most experience with Chaos Space Marines, but I can tell you just by the idea of this would be so much fun to use.
I mean, guys, there's been some musical themes around our armies in the past, but this is an army that you can quite literally bring your own. It's got to be an old boombox. You got to set it up next to the table, and it's just 80s rock for about 2.5 hours.
And if you're not playing at least a little Van Halen on repeat, specifically what this army is named after.
What is it?
Runnin' with the Devil.
Yes! Perfect. Hole in one. Excellent name. Excellent name.
One of the best Van Halen hits of all time.
And I mean, Runnin' with the Devil, Chaos Space Marines.
Come on.
A+.
So that's it.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. So that was our segment from the Brown Library. And now, before we finish off the show, we're going to do our little segment called the Dakka of Dakkas, where we're pulling our favorite comment from the Dakka Dakka forums that are out there today. Andrew, what is our comment?
Well, I just want to say rock on, but after I say that, So I was looking around everywhere essentially to find anybody's comments on Noise Marines, and apparently it's not that they're like unpopular to the level where people rage about them.
Okay.
I mean, they probably raged about them a whole lot more when the Chaos Space Marines Codex first came out, which was back at the beginning of 6, so more than a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So I went to the wiki for Noise Marines.
Excellent.
And there's 2 quotes that I actually have to say that are at the top of the page. The first is kind of a quote from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay.
I guess because Fulgrim kind of looks like Dracula. But
and I was doing his accent wrong before. I'm
Yes.
sorry, that's a terrible... I mean, maybe that's spot on.
For Fulgrim or for Dracula?
For Fulgrim, of course, not Dracula.
So the quote from their Primarch Fulgrim is, "My Emperor's children, what wonderful music they make."
What wonderful music they make.
Yeah, I wonder how that directly led into what they became.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, I mean, this next line just screams love of Noise Marines.
Screams love of Noise Marines?
Screams love of Noise Marines,
Okay.
pun intended. Possibly the most derp thing of all the grim derp things to come out of Games Workshop.
People just love Noise Marines.
I mean, it's just oozing like this library.
Just like the library. Just oozing with love. Oh, God. All right, well, that's awesome. Guys, that was episode 7 of Roll to Seize. We'll be posting a new episode every month. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at rolltoseize@gmail.com, or, of course, take part in our polls and our conversations each month on the Dakka of Dakkas forum. Just search for Partial Arc, and you'll find us. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Partial Arc, or check us out on our Facebook page. Thanks for listening, and your fun fact for the month is...
Slaanesh is actually the only Chaos God that welcomes intruders.
Really?
Yeah, all the other Chaos Gods are just, like, trying to, like, kill anybody that
Get
comes
off my
into the
lawn.
territory.
Don't
Whereas
hang out my house.
Slaanesh is like, yes, come in. This is totally not a trap or anything.
I've got all this cocaine. You want all this cocaine?
cocaine, food, sluts. I've got it all.
I've got it all. Cod pieces? It's like, oh, I
Whoa.
draw the line. God, how did that make its way all
I
the way
don't
through this
know.
episode? How? How?